Do I have to read this whole proclamation thing again? Be longer than the meeting. Everybody good? I'd like to call to order the Plaquemines Parish School Board regular Monday, January 11th, 2021, 6 p.m. via Zoom platform meeting to order. We'll have the invocation by Ms. Monica Wirtz and the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Ron White.
If you would please bow your heads. This afternoon or this evening, I'd like to offer a prayer for peace. May the leaders of our world be bathed in sacred light. May all people put down their weapons and look to the heavens for truth. May loving kindness fill their hearts as forgiveness washes over them and humankind becomes one in love. This we pray. Amen.
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 I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now we'll move on to roll call and declaration of quorum. Mr. Superintendent?
Darren Damari Turner,
Here.
Daniel Morrell,
Here.
Nico Tasevich,
Present.
Joyce Lampkin, Ms. Lampkin,
She has to unmute herself.
Here. Do you hear me?
Myers,
Here.
Fran Bobby Martinez,
Here.
Bobby Ingraham,
Here.
Paul Lemire,
Here.
Jennifer Sanger.
Here.
Mr. President, Chair of the quorum.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to item 1.04, approval of the agenda.
I would like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll
I'll
second it.
We have a motion by Mr. Testridge, seconded by Ms. Myers. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Okay, the motion passes. Now we'll move on to 2021 nominations and election of officers. We'll start out with the president. Right now, we have Mr. Morrell, Mr. Testridge, and Ms. Turner nominated. Do we have any other nominations for president?
Mr. President, I would like to thank Shane Myers for nominating me as the president. I would like to remove my name from the presidency.
Okay, Mr. Morrell has removed his name. Do we have any other nominations or for the president? Hearing none, we'll move on to the vice president nominations. We'll do the nominations first and then we'll come back and do the election. The vice president, we have Mr. Nico Tesvich, Ms. Jennifer Sanger, Ms. Myers, and Ms. Martinez. Do we have any more?
Mr.
Okay.
President, I would like to remove my name as vice president. Thank you, Mr. Ingraham, for the nomination.
Okay, do we have any more nominations for vice president? Hearing none, we'll move on to parliamentarian. We have Paul Mayer, Nico Tesvich, and Jennifer Sanger. Do we have any more nominations for parliamentarian?
Mr. President,
Yes,
I want to thank Bobby Ingraham for the nomination, but I would like to remove my name from that position.
Okay, I'd also like to remove my name and thank you, Ms. Joyce Lampkin, for the parliamentarian. So as of now, we have Mr. Nico Testovich. Do we have any other nominations? for
I would
parliament?
like to nominate Darrell Turner for parliamentarian. I think we need someone that could, be strong and handle a meeting. So I know I nominated Nico, but Nico's also nominated for 2 other offices. So I would like to nominate Darrell Turner for parliamentarian.
Okay, right now we have Nico Testovich nominated and Ms. Darrell Turner. Any more nominations for parliamentarian? Hearing none, we'll move on to executive committee member. We have Paul Lemare, Jennifer Sanger, and Joyce Lampkin. Do we have any more nominations for executive committee member?
Mr. President, I'd like to remove my name from executive committee. Thanks, Mr. Ingraham, for nominating me.
Okay, Ms. Lampkin is removed. Do we have any more nominations for executive committee member? Hearing none, we'll move on for the election of president. We have Ms. Darrell Demal Turner, District 1. I guess, Mr. Russo, will you do roll call?
Darlene Damali Turner,
Yes.
Daniel Morrell,
Yes.
Nico Tesovich,
Nay.
Joyce Lampkin,
No,
Shane Myers,
So what are we voting on right now?
President.
President.
On
Right,
Darren's up.
okay, no.
Fran Bobby Martinez,
Yes.
Bobby Ingraham,
Bobby, you muted.
Yes.
Paul Lemare,
Yes.
Jennifer Sanger,
No.
Okay,
5.
Darrell Turner has 5, so
She's the president.
she's the president. Congratulations, Ms. Turner.
Congratulations.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Congrats. Darylyn.
Congratulations, Darlene.
Y'all gotta see my heart beating right now. Take it out. Let's see.
Good luck, Carol.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, do you want to take over the meeting now, or you want me to finish the?
You can finish and we'll carry over on the next one.
Okay. Okay, we'll move on to vice president. District 3, Nico Testovich is who we're voting on. So roll call, Mr. Superintendent.
Darlene Damali Turner,
Yes.
Daniel Morrell,
Yes.
Nico Tesovich,
Yes.
Joyce Lampkin,
Yes,
Shane Myers,
Yes,
Fran Bobby Martinez,
Yes.
Bobby Ingraham,
Yes.
Paul Lemare,
Yes.
and Jennifer Sanger.
Yes.
Okay.
And congratulations, Nico, you the vice president.
Thank you, board. Appreciate it. Y'all okay in my book?
Thank you.
Okay, now we're in a predicament.
right. We don't have anyone for parliamentarian.
Parliamentarian,
Right.
You can put me up, Shane.
All right, I nominate Daniel Morrell for parliamentarian.
okay, we have Mr. Morrell. Do we have any more nominations?
No.
Okay, hearing none, Mr. Morrell, congratulations, you're the parliamentarian.
Thank you, guys.
Yay.
Okay, executive committee member. I'll go ahead and withdraw and let Jennifer be the executive committee member. That's fine with everybody, unless someone else has another nomination.
I'm fine with Jennifer.
I'm fine too.
Okay, hearing
I'm
none,
fine with Jennifer.
Ms. Sanger, you are the executive committee member for 2021. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to all the board members.
Yes,
I think we have a good crew.
I think so too.
yep.
Okay, Ms. Turner, you want to take over or you want me to still finish this whole meeting?
Finish it out, Mr. Lemire.
Well, they got one president of the United States, they trying to kick him out. Y'all trying to keep him.
I'm just
for
saying, I
election,
actually
huh?
impeached you. I used the 25th
I
Amendment,
guess
so
I'm
go ahead and
a
finish this
different
thing out.
guy. Okay, we'll move on to ad hoc and standing committee reports. I don't think we have any this morning.
No.
No,
Then we'll go to item 2, Plaquemines Parish School Board recognitions and/or presentations.
Next school board meeting will recognize students of the year, teacher of the year, and principal of the year. Hopefully it won't be virtual and we can have them present at that time.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 3, board members' time for non-agenda and agenda items. Does anyone have anything they want to say?
I have
Yeah.
something I wanted to bring up to the board, Mr. Outgoing President. In today's Times-Picayune Advocate, there was a good article about education and it being a game changer to get dual enrollment students, and about how kids can get associate degrees while they're still in high school. This is an excellent thing, an excellent article that I encourage everybody to read. And if you have any questions, please ask the principal or counselor at your child's respective school. This is a great thing that the state of Louisiana is behind, that's going to get some great degrees and credentials in hands of our young people and get them ready for the workforce.
yeah, I felt like, I saw when that came out. I just want to give kudos to Plaquemines Parish School Board for being, ahead of the game and been having that in place for a
We've
very
been-
long time, you know?
Yeah.
So, that's been in place since before I was on the board. And when I ran, that was a big push for me, because when my children went in school, which weren't that long ago, they graduated in 2009 and 2011. All they had basically then, for the most part, was college path type things, you know. So if you weren't going to a 4-year college, it was frowned upon basically. But now people realize that we need these people in the world to do all of these things. And there's a shortage of plumbers and electricians. I don't know if anyone's tried to get any type of construction done lately, but you know, it costs a lot of money. So that means those people make a lot of money, and no one should ever look down on someone that doesn't have a 4-year degree. Because everyone who does have a 4-year degree, I promise you, they don't work on their own car. They don't fix their own plumbing. They didn't build their own house. They don't wash their car. So they need all of these people who take interest in things like that and help you with those type of careers.
And I will add that I'm proud of the kids that have taken up those dual enrollment classes
Yes.
at Nunez and at Delgado, and for actually graduating. And some of them graduated before they graduated from high school. So that was a very proud moment for us in Plaquemines Parish to have those kids pursue those degrees and those associate degrees at those community colleges. So that's exciting.
To piggyback on what Ms. Turner's saying, the article quotes that 159 students, 159 out of over 42,000 earned associate degrees while they were in high school. And some of that numbers from Phoenix High School, you know, so
Yes.
Phoenix High School, they small, but guess what? They showing up in this dual enrollment and CT stuff, and more power to them, and congrats to the body, the student body, as well as the administration over there for getting that going. One or two out of 159, that's awesome. Congrats to Phoenix for that.
Yes.
And I hope people understand that even if they do plan on going to a 4-year college, a lot of those credits carry over. So they work with.
And a
you.
lot of our students have done that.
Right, exactly. So it's a great,
And they're
great
still
program.
doing it. So let me just say they're still doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, any other board member has anything? Hearing none, I would like to thank everyone for setting up these meetings and all the hard work that you do. And I want to say, I'm very honored to have been your president for the last 2 years. And Mr. Turner, my advice to you is, when you don't know what's going on, call Miss Sonia, because she's the one that pulled me out the hole a whole bunch of times.
Right.
You do take care of us, and we thank you. I thank you for it. And I'd also like to mention, on a sad note, 2 of our former school bus drivers passed away, Miss Sheila Stevens and Miss Helen Soche. They were longtime bus drivers for us, and they both passed away. So please keep their families in your prayers. And moving on, also congratulations to all the new officers. I look forward to sitting back and letting y'all take over, and I appreciate it. A little new and a little old, so we'll all grow together. Now we'll move on to item 4, superintendent's comments and reports. Mr. Russo.
Thank you. At this time, 4.01, presentation of the 2019-2020 comprehensive annual financial report, discussion of the audit results. Mr. Ron White.
Good evening. I wanted to sit where I could look at everybody and y'all could look at me. We had the audit completed. Everything went well. There were no findings. It was routine, a lot of work on our part, and certainly a lot of work on the auditor's part, but everything went well. Everything was filed on time. I've got the hard copy of the reports that'll I'll pass out the next time I see y'all. The report includes the auditor's reports. There's, I think, 3 or 4 reports in here. And like I said, there were no findings by the auditors. It also includes, as a personal point of pride, the 2 awards that we received in last year's report. And this year's report will also be submitted for the financial reporting awards with the 2 national organizations that give awards for these. At the next board meeting, I'm hoping to have the auditors speak to y'all. And like I said, it should be routine, but any questions that you have for the auditors at the next board meeting would be great. I'd like to mention just a couple of things finance related. Today we received our property tax check for the month of January. Is $20 million. So our cash situation has drastically improved. And tomorrow we will be receiving some FEMA funding, new funds, and that, along with some money we received over the Christmas break, is a little under $2 million of new FEMA funding. So what I've been talking about for many months now, all the hard work being done on our end, as well as with GOSEP and FEMA, is starting to pan out. This is funding out of some of our various funding buckets. And this is just the start, because we've also got some more funding that we can get reimbursed, some more reimbursements, particularly for the Phoenix High School athletic fields project, as well as the Belchase High School football field, as well as the Belchase High School door project. Those are 3 projects that we hadn't received any reimbursements for. Part of what we're getting tomorrow is on the Phoenix project. The older, larger projects that have been closed for a long time are still going through their closeout process, and it's going to be a number of months. But what I'm hoping is that we'll start getting $1 million here, $2 million here, and then over the next few months, really build our cash balance back up to where it should be. I want to make mention of the federal funding, the new COVID funding act that was signed into law last month. It's calling for many billions of dollars for public education. And our calculations and things we've heard, it should be about $3 to $4 million for PPSB. At this point, I do not know what strings will be attached. Normally with federal funding, they don't just give you the money, they dictate how it can be spent. I've heard that it's going to be very broad in allowing us in how we are allowed to spend the money. I don't think we have $3 to $4 million worth of new things to spend the money on. So we will try to make sure that we can comply with the law, but have that funding pay for things that we're already doing. And that would help to close our budget gap. In addition, based on what the incoming president has said and the fact that both houses of Congress will be controlled by the same party, he has expressed the desire to get another funding bill once he takes office that will help to close budget gaps for state and local governments, and specifically mention school systems. So that's the funding that I would most look forward to, because our sales taxes are still lagging from where they should be, and certainly lagging from where they were before the pandemic. So right now, there are a lot of things on the horizon that are looking good for us financially. And even though none of it is coming in time to help us with our cash crunch in November and December of last year, we made it through that with no problem. And the future is starting to look kind of bright for us on the financial front.
Okay, thank you, Mr. White. We don't have any action on this at this time. This is just a report.
Correct.
Information.
Okay.
4.02,
Okay.
ready to move on?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
4.02, discussion appropriate action in regard to approval of proposed change order in the amount of $12,053.09 for the South Plaquemines High School field house and concessions restaurant project. Mr. White.
Make a motion.
Okay, we have
I
a motion
second.
by Ms. Myers, seconded by Ms. Lampkin.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. White?
My original plan was to have the architect speak to y'all, but I've been communicating with them, and this change order is such a small amount, and I can run through what the various elements are. The project is going very well. I believe it's at about 90% complete, and this is change order number 1. So this has to be probably some sort of record in terms of the least amount of change orders on a project of this size. And the dollar amount only being $12,000 is really a credit to the architect and the contractor that things have been going as well as they have. The various items, the add items consist of 140 feet of sewer line, which comes out to about $3,600. The survey showed that there were sewer lines where in fact there were not. So some additional work needed to be done. Very often on these projects, unforeseen things happen under the ground that were not expected until the work was actually being done. So we have that, as well as a water meter, because there wasn't a water meter where they thought there was going to be a water meter. So that was about $4,000. There was a little bit of work that needed to be done for about $1,800 to help strengthen over some of the openings. The drawings called for a certain type of work to be done, but it wasn't quite strong enough for the masonry. So the contractor and the architect got together and they figured out how to make that work. So that's about $1,800. There was some discrepancy on what the drawings called for with respect to the paint color. And when the architect reached out to me on that, apparently the drawings only call for one color, but there was an expectation that it'd be 2 colors. And once I was shown the pictures, it seemed obvious that it needed to be 2 colors, and to be the 2 colors basically of the of the school and also to match the main building of the school. And that additional cost was about $4,100 because of the extra work that's required when you're painting buildings with two colors to keep it straight as opposed to just painting them all with one color. There are the time extension for all of these items, as well as for just the general issues with COVID, come out to 57 additional days. The only impact that the additional days has is to protect the contractor from liquidated damages. The contractor has been documenting days over the months of construction for weather days, as well as a certain amount of productivity that was lost because it was hard early on, especially to have all the people working together because they're trying to stay socially distant. So all of these things have been vetted by the architect, and everything was passed by me as well, as just to make sure that everything seemed to be reasonable. And like I said, it's probably one of the easier projects we've had, considering the size of the project, and the architect's been doing a great job and the contractor's been very good to work with. I'll take any questions if you've got any questions.
Mr. White, does the date of substantial completion need to be changed on page 1?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. That said November of 2020.
Well, probably, I think what we'll do, I think we may have talked about this before, or we talked with the architect. We'll see when we get to that point. I think as long as the school board is not interested in assessing liquidated damages against the contractor, then the proposed date of substantial completion won't be particularly relevant. It will be whatever it is, but these days only carry us through that November date. These days are based on probably about 2 to 3 months ago. I had put off asking the board to approve this change order last month because I thought it would be more convenient for the architects to go to Phoenix than to go to Boothville. And it turns out we were virtual both months anyway. But the proposed date of substantial completion of November 12th is not particularly relevant. It was just what the contract was extended to at that time.
Yeah, they had a lot of hurricane days besides.
Correct. All the weather days were documented month by month by the contractor and approved by the architect.
Mr. White, do you foresee any other change orders coming?
I'm not aware of anything other than the possibility of adding more days if that was necessary, just to make it clean and bring it up basically to the present time. But if the board's not interested in assessing liquidated damages against the contractor, then we don't necessarily need to add any more days. Otherwise, I'm not aware of any additional work or any additional cost. Nothing's come to my attention.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? From the administration? Do we have any citizens?
Yes, sir.
Citizens, okay. Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. White.
Thank you.
Thank you. 4.03, Head Start Budget Report, Ms. Adel.
Good evening, everyone. It is my monthly time to share the budget with you. If you have any questions for the Head Start budget.
I do have a question. I don't know if this has to do with Head Start or what it has to, or I just noticed in the regular check register, we pay a daycare. Is that involved with Head Start? Are there daycares that educate our children on their sites so that we reimburse them for employment expenses?
Yes, so in my capacity, I am the Head Start Director as well as the lead agency representative for the school board. And as a lead agency representative, we take care of the child care centers in the Belle Chase area, as well as the children who attend early childhood classrooms in the school system. So the state of Louisiana gave them a grant to keep their doors open. They were very concerned with COVID that some of our childcare centers in our area were going to start closing and our children would not have a place to be. So I managed that grant, and in that grant, yes ma'am, we did give them employee expenses. We reimbursed them for salaries. We got the materials that they needed. We got them PPE and things. They decided how they needed to spend that money for their center.
Okay, so we get that money and then we give it to them?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So they sign a contract with us with lots of assurances to make sure that we have all the paperwork in place for Mr. White and the finance team. And then we reimburse once we get all of that documentation.
Okay.
We also, just for information purposes, will be starting our annual Head Start application, where in the next 2 months, you guys will see lots of new information on what we plan to do over the next year for specific Head Start things as well. So looking forward to sharing those with you too.
Great.
Thank you, Ms. Adele.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to item 5, approval of the board consent agenda. We can take 5.01 minutes of the board meeting and 5.02 employee-related action taken by superintendent at the same time. We have a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I second.
We have a motion by Ms. Myers, seconded by Mr. Morrell. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Information items. Do we have any information items? Okay, do we have any citizens' comments?
Is it email address?
Okay, hearing none. The date and time and location of our next meeting will be Monday, February 1st at Belle Chase Middle School, if God allows us to. If not, it'll be virtual again. That's the plan. February 1st, 2020, Belle Chase Middle School. Okay, do we have a motion for adjournment?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Nico Tespich, seconded by who?
Ms. Lampkin?
Ms. Lampkin?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any nay? Motion passes. Board meeting adjourned at 6:33.
All right, looking forward to the next
All
meeting.
right, Paul.